We have some Drytron action for you today, Volcanic FTK, and yes, Mimighouls. Make sure you guys smash the grab button, that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more content. You wanted some Drytron action, right? Well, I've been trying to see the most interesting OTS Championship deck list that we can find out here. And the fact that we have a Drytron list. Now remember, Drytron with the new support is forced to only be able to do ritual goodness by relying on Dad here to be a piece of that end board. Now you're going to notice something else in here. There's no vanities in here as like the end piece. A lot of these builds are trying to be like, hey, you can search for it off Ben 10. You can put this boss monster on the field. You maintain this incredibly strong piece to this end board, which is typically correct, all right? Having that extra little body to control your opponent typically can be good, but no. This build's going to rely on Dad, and then whichever other end board pieces that we can kind of whip up here. Now, I do see we are playing the Promenade Thrush and Assembled Nightingale, so we're taking advantage of some of that little extra action that those level 1 monsters are kind of able to generate for us. We cannot forget the fact that, hey, this is a pretty cool card. Also, no Fucho in this deck, I think is a little bit interesting. Also, this side deck is just pure hand traps, man. Like, you're bringing in as much hand trap support as you can. I mean, like, the Lancias, the Crows, the Bells, and then 6 small Charmies to be those clutch cards for you to make sure that you can control the game is going to be very, very good. I also do see here we are playing one copy of the Drytron Meteor Shower as well. I mean, it's a counter trap to basically answer something, which is not bad considering you can now search this off this, but no secret village lock, which was kind of cool. I did like that idea, going through the IB to kind of produce that. We're just, you set up the Meteor Shower, you put Dad on the field, rely on some hand traps, maybe have a secondary Link 1 or something next to it. You're probably going to be in a pretty good position after that, so makes the most sense, right? Ooh, we have Volcanics for you here. Now, this was classified as a Volcanic FTK deck. Now, the thing I'm seeing here is we're using the volcanic stuff to pressure our opponent with some extra burn, but we can't take away the fact that we have a lot of strong meta cards here to ensure that we can clear out the game all that much easier, all right? Like, you have to have cards to be able to amplify that pressure on your opponent so that you can make the game easier for you to win. And that's not going to be much of a problem here. Honestly, the Deception package is going to let you go through Russelago and Sylvia. Sylvia is going to put herself up to be that Omni, so you'll be able to do whatever you need to do. And then, of course, you have the rest of the Fire King stuff here to be that, control pressure point on your opponent. I mean, basically, we took the Tier 1 already existing deck and we said, hey, what if we put a Fire King package in this? What if this Fire King package is the thing that it's the glue to hold it together? Well, I mean, it's something. So, your volcanic stuff, I mean, hey, you're calling out a 3100 beat stick out here. Its job is to put the pressure on your opponent, and then you just scatter shot, kind of clear up your opponent's field, and then we rely on Current Eye and a mission to kind of clean things up. That's really all I've got here. I will say, though, because of the build we are playing, we also get to play Skyburn down here. Skyburn gives you that extra protection and that huge little board wipe presence for your opponent. Also, 60 cards is not bad for this. With how many packages you have shoved into this deck, I do not feel bad at all about having that extended package to hit that extra number of things. So you've passed the check marks of, hey, we've got all of the engines in here. We've maximized everything that we need to in terms of numbers. I literally can't see anything else going too terribly wrong here. Now this is cool. I will tell you, I've seen so much Mimighoul technology out here. So many people have been testing out the Mimighoul stuff. And the first thing that caught my attention down here was this build is actually playing frickin' Swords of Revealing Light. Like, what? So many people have gone away from this, but believe it or not, a lot of main decks do not have answers to a Swords of Revealing Light. If you hand your opponent a bunch of crap, and then you're like, all right, cool, Swords of Revealing Light, what are they going to do? This also force flips up, everything. So, well, guess what? You're getting free checks on the stuff. We are also playing one copy of the Mimighoul charm. Now, I also want to preface this and say, yes, it is another 60 card variant. You got to remember, you need extra engines in a deck like this to do the thing. Like, the Cashier package has been a very big piece of glue holding this deck together. You will always see Fenrirs and Unicorns in a majority of these lists. They are just, I mean, if not, it's like 1, 2, and then a Racloth, and then maybe the Birth. All right, this package just happened. I want to fill out the space a little bit more, but this build is also going way more Bysteel heavy. Like, the fact that you're going 3 Druisworm in here, and of course the Lubellions, but that just kind of proves, you know, how good Branded Regained is as a card to net you all that extra draw power so that you can control your opponent. One thing I don't know if I necessarily like is the fact we're only playing 1 fairy in here. I don't know. I feel like the Kashtira package is a little bit reduced in terms of numbers. I understand that, like, you want more special summons, but I guess you have more generic cards in here, more of the hand trap stuff, to ensure that you can get the game going in your favor anyway. So it probably counterbalances itself out at the end. All right, now what else we got back here? So we have another look at the Unchained deck that we saw out of the Ontario Regional for an OTS Championship. Now, everything that I can tell you about this deck is, it is really cool to see the Magical Musketeer tech package, all right? Especially, you've got to remember, pure Magical Musketeers, while it does serve some goodness in its life, you know, it's a lot more tech cards you kind of got to tech in. The big thing with just having the Starfire access here is it lets you toggle on into the Magical Musketeer Max, and then you're able to extend out extra bodies depending on the situation that you need. And then obviously, you know, we toggle into the Requiem, and then we go through all that little control matchup stuff that you want to see while you're putting that pressure on your opponent so that you can win the game. And that's always going to be an incredibly easy thing to do. Now, I also see we are playing a copy of Karifotan in here. I, too, love not letting the Tenpire player end my dueling career for a nice 2k life points. I see we are playing Eldurance and Malong in here so that we can play triple copies of Ultimate Slayer. The fact that we are already early on the Ultimate Slayer train in here as an attempt to try to clean things up from the opponent feels very, very good. And, of course, we have the different dimension ground in here. Of course, I mean, you want cards that you can toggle off of thrust. Being able to resolve a thrust, toggle on into one of those stupidly strong disruptor trap cards against your opponent, and have your opponent look at you and go, yep, better than me, absolutely nothing I can do about this. GG, let's go next, duelist. That's the value you get with this. But an incredibly, I would say, developed deck. The fact that this duelist has not only had a regional run success out here, but now we're hitting the secondary success run out here out of the OTS Championship just proves that this deck is a monster. All right, next up here. Woo! Now, the reason why I wanted to cover this is right here. Taps the toy box. You know, the fact we don't have to rely on these runic cards out here to do things is kind of cool, but we're also not playing the Centurion package in this. I do like the Centurion package in this. I've been pretty vocal about that for a while. I think that the Centurion stuff does give you, you know, some free bodies, especially if you're playing the toy box version. You know, you get the level 12 access, but, you know, you just got to kind of think about the amount of adaptability that the different lines will give you in this. And for this list, I mean, we've already got the Deception package running in here. You have adapted more towards the Snake Eyes side of things, just because, you know, Resalago and this are incredibly ignorant cards. I mean, I too love a roundabout draw one. I also see we are side decking a copy of the Scourge of the White Forest. I haven't really seen a lot of people adapting towards this card, but I feel like this is one of those pretty cool tech choices. We have one thrust in the main siding, the additional, and we're also playing a copy of the Simul Archfiends in here. And of course, I mean, why not, right? We're a synchro control deck. We're putting big bodies on the field. We can dodge all day long by tucking back our monsters. They'll resolve off the field. Good old skill drain gets us the chance to do things. Outside of that, you've got more OTS goodness locked in. This format was dubbed one of the worst the game has seen in a while, according to a lot of players, but it is definitely nowhere near as bad as it actually has been. So leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and Goatee of the Deep Beyond in my synchro deck. We've really come a very long way. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.